it was a hot one, and
It was.
it's gonna stay. That's what's unfortunate. You know, you kind of are hoping we get a break. Maybe if you want to go grilling, you guys should stay outside by the grill, but it sounds like that's not the case.
No, unfortunately, you know, and what we got to remember is that we had a pretty mild June for us. We didn't hit 90 degrees until the first day of July, which is the third latest on record that we've hit our first 90-degree day for the year. So we were blessed with a mild June. And now we're paying for it.
Okay.
So, you know, we're going to be dealing with this heat and humidity. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It is the summer after all. So we're actually in the ballpark of where we should be for this time of year. 90 degrees at GSP, 91 in downtown. That's right where we should be. Average daytime high in the upstate is 90 degrees. In the mountains, your average high is 85 this time of year. You hit 84 in Asheville, 83 in Franklin. So again, this isn't extreme heat. It's the humidity that's really making things feel so just stifling out there, that very thick air, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And also the combination of the heat, humidity, all that moisture in the atmosphere sparks off these afternoon showers and thunderstorms, which is what we saw today. Things have calmed down quite a bit, but we still have a little bit of rain showing up through parts of Elbert County and some lightning right along the county border there. Dove Creek, you're likely hearing the thunder if you're trying to go to bed. Those lightning strikes, quite a few of them in the last 15 minutes or so. Overall, though, trending dry as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into the early hours of tomorrow. Once again, we see those afternoon thunderstorms roll right back into the forecast. And I do think the coverage tomorrow afternoon is going to be more widespread than what we saw today and even yesterday. We brought it down a little bit from what we saw over the weekend. Tomorrow, I think almost everyone is going to see at least one thunderstorm roll through your area, if not a couple, on and off throughout the afternoon. Now, it's not an all afternoon washout, but you certainly need to keep an eye on that radar as we head into the later part of the day. There is a low end risk. We see damaging straight line wind. It's going to be a little elevated across the upstate northeast Georgia and into the southern parts of the mountains. That doesn't mean we couldn't see a severe thunderstorm a little bit further to the north. This time of year, you can never completely rule that possibility out when we're talking about thunderstorms showing up on the radar. Damaging straight line winds would be the biggest issue, and microburst. Keep in mind, microburst is considered just a damaging wind threat, so that's a possibility for tomorrow as well. In terms of the heat index, a little more cloud cover tomorrow. A little higher rain chance is going to keep your heat index around 95, but notice we're hovering just shy of 100 Thursday, Friday into Saturday and Sunday as well. Temperatures tomorrow morning in the mid 60s into the mountains, low 70s into the upstate. We could see some patchy fog as well, especially if you saw rain today. You have an increased risk to see some fog tomorrow morning. So if you're headed back to work for the first time this week, just keep that in mind for that morning commute. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures in the mid to upper 80s into the upstate. We're looking at those mid 80s into the mountains. And overall, we just keep this going and going and going and going and going all the way into the weekend. Upper 80s to low 90s for afternoon highs into the upstate. Again, right around where we should be with afternoon storm chances pretty much every day. In the mountains, you're looking at those afternoon highs to be into the mid 80s. So buckle in. We're not going anywhere anytime soon with this forecast. And remember, as you are out and about, you want to make sure that you have that radar handy. Have it right there on your phone by downloading the Fox Carolina First Alert weather app. Pull out your phone now, scan the QR code, or head to the App Store. Fox Carolina First Alert weather. It's great to check in with. I do it whenever we're at the pool. Just check in with the radar to make sure we're good to go. We don't need to run home real quick. And of course, as you wake up tomorrow morning, those of you back at it again for work, we've got the morning show, the morning news on from 4:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. with the latest in weather, traffic, as well as your headlines, your news headlines. From 10 to 11, we've got Access Carolina, the latest in lifestyle across Western Carolinas. And we're back with more news for the midday news at 11 a.m. Carrie?